hoping is if the leopard is still around, which I think it could well be. As the sun gets higher and it starts to warm up a little bit, it might just come out and sun itself. Certainly was a cold snap first thing this morning. Wow, look at that. I wonder if we can maybe just pan around a little bit, because there's a really nice shot just a little bit to the left. You might be able to see that mist coming off. Basic tracking principle. If you lose the tracks, you start to look in wider circles for the next set of tracks. Because it can be the animals change direction, or the ground is a bit more difficult for the tracks to register in. And that's basically what we're doing. So from where I lost the track, we're going to start making circles and widen our search. See if we can find where the next set of tracks are. And it could be that he's still making his way through the bush. But I think there was more than one leopard out and about last night. So I had one set crossing over here, and then another set a bit further down. One set crossing over and one set crossing back. And one in that corner looks a little bit smaller. Standing by?
I got this car Triple M, but the rest of Impala plate.
Copy. Are they Lalapans at the moment?
I can book a one more day, Lalapans, on and yeah, and also my party, they are the party, my daughter now very
Copy. I will see if we can come and join you. Thank you.
Okay, copy then.
Do you know which Clyde?
Woman.
Copy, thank you. Okay, well let's see if we can go and catch up with the lions. They are in a signal area where we do drop signal a little bit, so we may cut in and out. We may have a good signal once we're stationary, so please bear with us and we'll see if we can catch up with those lines for you. It's one leopard. Lines are right on the boundary. So they may move. Let's see if we can try and catch up with them. Come back in a little while. Carry on following up on the tracks. Now, the Impala Plains is where Karula, we last saw her. I'm really hoping that she's moved out of the area. I'm sure she would have done the first sign of lions. And she probably would have moved those cubs just to keep them out of harm's way. But he did say they are the Unkahumas, and I think it must be the Gajima male lion tracks that we saw here. I think one big male walked down here, the other one may have walked down the other side. Good morning, Impala. Come back and say hello properly. I'd love to have known what went on last night though. These Impala do look a little bit wary. It also sounds like Henry covered the roads that I was going to cover next. It was following the line tracks. So I think the leopard could be in that block. This is south of the quarantine area, in between quarantine area and Shellapam. Didn't report any signs of leopards on that road. And if anybody would like to ask any questions, it'd be great to hear from you this morning. Send your questions through to control@safari.tv. And let us know from across the world. It's always great to hear. So we're taking those roads, trying to take the quickest route. We're going to take Zoe's Road onto Impala Plains and then onto Triple M. It certainly took a long way round. They went south on Quarantine area and Twin Dance, and then went west on Philemon's Cook line, and then on towards Triple M. Now the Unkahuma Pride and the Styx Pride overlap, and their home ranges seem to overlap here on our 1,000 hectares of traversing. So we don't have a pride that stays here all the time, but they do come and visit from time to time. And the Kajima males territory overlaps with the Unkahumas, and it seems to be their boundary is coming further south again. They used to control this area, and then the Mapocos moved in, especially the two Mapocos, the tail, cleavage at 4, with the Mapocos. The Mapocos killed one of the Majingilans, which brought them down to 4, and they retaliated and killed Kinky Tail, leaving Mr. T to run off into the west, where the rest of his coalition are, and he went to join them. But we haven't seen the Majingilans for a little while now, and I think they have headed north. Oh, sorry, Franklins. I think they have headed north, but it just sounds like they're spending more of their time in the south, towards Mala Mala, where the Styx are. So it could be because they're spending more time in the south, the Majingilans, sorry, the Gajimas, are coming a bit further south into our area again, following the Unkahuma Pride. And I think the Unkahumas are trying to stay away from the Majingilans as much as possible because of the cubs. The cubs are about 5 Henry Rickman.
Yes, segala de mobile. Now mobile is
Okay, they're actually I'm coming up to Impala Plains now. Ah. See the vehicle up ahead. Oh, there they are. Oh, wonderful. One look at Genius. I'll just pull around a little bit better here. Alright, you're going to stay there. Oh, there's the other one. Near the back. These males are beautiful, so magnificent. Now what you saw him doing just then was known as phlegm and grimace, and he's testing the urine of possibly one of the females. And those receptor cells just in the top of the mouth are exposed as the lips are pulled back, and that helps them to detect if a female is ready to mate or not. And he has seen the two Kojima males following the young Kahuna pride very closely and spending a lot of time with them. And I think the male at the back, this seems to be the smaller of the two males, was the male that was mating with one of the female Kahunas. If he's settled down, I'm just going to try and pull forward just a little bit more, so you might be able to see his face. If he does turn around.
Welcome everybody, my name is Tara, Cat is on camera, and this is Wild Earth. I'm one of the most magnificent creatures here in Africa, and the beautiful male lions, part of the coalition known as the Gajima males. And there's two males in this coalition. The other male is sitting just out of reach of the camera, and it looks like there's possibly two females from the Nkahuma pride. There may be more who are with them, and they're sitting in the bush just to the right of the screen. Maybe we can try and zoom in and see how well we can see them. I think they've just hidden a little bit too well. Hi Linda, welcome on board this morning, and if I have it correctly, apparently the Majingilans, the other coalition who patrols this area, was seen on Nkoro, which is just to the southeast of where we are, our traversing area.
Right. So even if you are on government triple M to the north, then you can find them. They're not far from triple M. Yeah, Luto, you can farm no matata. I'm here with Tara, but I'm going to make my way now. I've left there. Then you just come back to Triple M North. Yeah, from Zebra Drive, between Zebra Drive and the one I-10, there is another Ndlela close by
Yeah, let's maybe see if we can move around the other side now the other vehicle's moved. You might be able to see his face a bit better. No. gonna wait for the vehicle to move now. And we do have a rule to try and keep the animals as relaxed as possible around the vehicle, so that only one vehicle is allowed to move at any one time. And it does help to keep these animals relaxed. They're more likely to stay put. I think there's a lioness standing up in the bush there. If you get too much movement around the animals, especially when they're stationary like this, they're more likely to move. Morning!
Good morning.
Good morning!
How are you?
Good, how you guys doing? Those Ingwen Consos, I lost them somewhere between that road from Ingers and Twin Downs. But there's also some more Consos going towards the Bushby site as well. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to follow up completely.
I just heard Kurula was somewhere around.
Around here as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if she's still around.
Oh, okay. Did somebody have her? Did someone
No,
see
I
her?
just heard like 2 days ago because I was only.
Oh, yeah, no, she was here 2 days ago. She was actually just on Impala Plains, just on that road, and there was a knobthorn, and you'll be able to see our tracks going off in Impala Road, and yeah, we lost her in there. So she was there 2 days ago. I haven't heard anything yesterday. So if we see her, we'll keep you guys updated as well. The cubs were last seen, I think, about a week ago. She actually walked down this road here and walked in.
Yeah, I did find Fred Gonzo and the Matunda down.
Oh, down on that side.
Yeah.
Okay.
She might be still around.
Yeah.
It's because the Ngala comes from this way down here, straight in here and come back. So it looks like the Ngala pushes her out southwest, inside and comes back.
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thanks, Henry.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Enjoy the drive.
Yeah. More Ngala in there.
Yeah, we saw. Do you think the mum pimpans are there as well?
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
Okay.
They're just filling Henry in on Karula's movements. She's been on leave for the last couple of days or so, or couple of weeks. And for those of you who may have missed Karula, she was last seen not too far from here on Impala Plains, the plains that we drove through to get here. And she was last seen there a couple of days ago, just as I was telling Henry. And we lost her. She was looking at a knobthorn, and I was convinced that she had made a kill, and she was putting her nose to the ground and almost following a scent, as if she had made a kill and she was going to retrieve it. And I thought she was going to bring it back to that tree, but we didn't see anything after that. And the cubs last seen on this road, and she actually walked past this spot and headed east into the block. Okay, well, let's see if we can move. It looks like the lionesses are also going to move, so we may have a chance to see them from the other side. And if they get bothered by the flies as much as what they're bothering us at the moment, I'm sure they'll move as well. Why? They're underneath the bush, they're trying to avoid those flies. I think small cat, see if we can squeeze through here. Alright, beautiful. actually did move a little bit closer than I thought. I was hoping to squeeze past this tree here. Hi Jody, so I'm just laughing at this line. He's really getting annoyed by these by these flies. He's actually biting at them now. He's had enough of them. He's gonna go and join his brother. And the rest of the girls further into the bush. It really is just a thrill to be so close to one of nature's top predators. And they really do just respect the fact that they don't need to eat us, they don't need to bother us, and as long as we keep that respect too, you can see they're quite happy just to sit there and take in the sun's rays. They really are just such a magnificent creature. But even they get bothered by flies from time to time. Let's see if we can move around a little bit. There's the other male. He's moved. That's one of the females through there. You can see them. They're right in the glare of the sun, but maybe you can just see what's going on there. I think he's moved already. Let's keep moving around.
Ryan. Ollie, I'm going to visit no, on the road here. I'm not. Looks like it, eh? Okay. The bunch of people earlier. Oh, you were behind you were here.
Stations I do have in Garlic here on Triple M. I don't know if you copied earlier, but at the moment I think it's just myself in the lock. I don't think there's any other station approaching.
I don't think it was. Sugar and salt, you might get serious.
Standing by.
Ready, please.
Affirmative.
Music.
Negative.
there, there's one lioness coming out in front of us, I think. Are you going to come out? And I can see the cubs are here as well, so I think all 4 females and the 2 cubs from the Unkahuma pride are here. I think we're probably going to have to move back a little bit so these guys can get a view. They're all in here. Right, if you want to stand by, I'm just going to pull back. There's one my daughter here to my left as well. I've got one here to my left, the other one to my right here. Get through that. There we go. I'll keep an eye on the movements of these females. At the moment, they're very, very flat. And there's still no word of Snaggletooth, who is the 4th female member of the Unkahuma pride. Now the way it works is that males will hold a territory, and you'll hear us talking about coalitions, and those territories of males will incorporate maybe 2, 3, 4 prides of females within that territory, depending on how big it is. And Jody, I think you're right in a way as well, and Jody's saying it sounds a little bit strange, but you think that these males look a little bit more aggressive, maybe have more of an attitude than other male lions that you've seen. And I think it's because they've been around for quite a while. So they're quite sure of themselves, and I think the fact that there's still 2 of them, I think they're doing quite well. Especially with the other coalitions that are in the area. We've got the 4 Majingi lions, there's a new coalition that have come in from Kruger. But when I arrived about a year ago, there was 2 males who used to rule this area, the 2 Mapofos, and they were part of a coalition of 6 originally. But 4 stayed in the west, and the 2 controlled this area, so they actually held quite a large area. But because those 2 broke away, it was only a matter of time really when they would be broken apart, and that's exactly what the Majingi lions did. And they ended up killing one after the 2 Mapofos killed one of theirs. and that caused the remaining one, Mr. T, to head back into the west. So that's what is going to be very interesting to see what happens with the new coalition of four, if they're going to stay or whether there's going to be a clash between them and the Majingilans. Now the Gajimas have been chased off also by the Majingilans. They pulled down a buffalo and they got chased away from that buffalo. And that was the last time we saw the Gajimas for quite a long time, probably 8 or 9 months. Ryan, can you take charge of the lock? I'm not copying anybody, and just let me know if anybody needs space, and I'll make space. Yeah, go for it. Okay, there's a female actually coming out here. You may be lucky enough to see her. I'm just gonna... You're gonna stay there, lady? Just the pure fact that they are successful in pulling down buffalo. These two males probably do have quite a lot to really be assured of themselves about. It doesn't look like they've eaten from it. Okay, at the moment they're just in a very thick bush. So it's very difficult to see them, but if you heard there was a bit of a growl, that was the female telling the male to back off, and he's going to come out into the opening again. Okay, so you're going to see if we can move back and we can maybe get a view. Austin Powers. Sorry? Yeah, I'm gonna try and see if I can move out a little bit. Really? Okay. I'm gonna try and give you a bit more space. Yeah, we're not getting a good view anyway, so I think I'll just see if we can pull a bit further around the other side. Sorry, lady. And they've managed to push themselves. We don't have any view at the moment. They've managed to push themselves right in the thick of this. We're pretty close to a female and a male, but we couldn't see them very well. And I think they're going to be staying there. I think those flies are just bothering them so much that they've tried to put themselves into the bush so much. You see they were swatting the flies with the tail and trying to bite them. So they've just tried to bury themselves in there. So I don't think we're going to be seeing them moving around too much now. And there is a few other vehicles that might be interested in trying to see them. And with them being in such close proximity, I think they may get a little bit annoyed at a few vehicles being around. So I think we're going to pull out and give them some space and maybe see if we can try and come back a little bit later on. And maybe this afternoon they may have moved out into the open a little bit once it cools off. We'll keep your fingers crossed. But it's great to see them, and I'm so glad we were able to catch up with them. It's Ryan and Matt.
Fine. two.
Andrew. I was hoping we were going to have a chance to see the cubs right in the thick of the bush. I think it's certainly worth checking out a little bit later on and seeing if we can catch up with them again. As I say, I'm hoping that Karula has moved those cubs yet again. She did cross far from where those lines were. There's probably a game path there. That animals do use, and possibly it's the same game path as what the lions may have used as they walk down from the split line. See the little crown blackfin just here. There they go. Thought they're being very quiet. Hi Ellen, welcome on board this morning. And you're asking why were those male lions so thin? It looks like they haven't hunted for a little while. They probably haven't been successful. It looks like there was a hyena. But they certainly looked a lot thinner than last time we saw them after the buffalo. So they're probably going to look to hunt. So I'm going to keep my eyes peeled and see if there's any animal herds close by. And that's possibly why they were walking around quarantine area. Because there's a lot of herds around there usually. And that's possibly why, they split up. Maybe they were looking. See if there was anything they could hunt. But it doesn't look like they were successful, or if they were, it wasn't a very big animal. We haven't seen some buffalo herds come through here for a little while. They don't always follow the buffalo herds, and lions can turn their attention to anything they can get the claws into, be it small like a scrub hare or even a spring hare. Spring hares are rodents, look like little small kangaroo, but they are a rodent. Nocturnal, we don't see them around here too often. They prefer open plains. So they can also eat even smaller things like termites if they are really pushed. But one of the reasons it's believed that they form these family groups, these prides and coalitions, is so that they can start to hunt some of the larger animals that other animals can't hunt. So like the buffalo and even the elephant, hippo, they can specialize in some of the larger herbivores. And that was possibly, in years gone by, one of the reasons why they formed prides in the first place.
So how many seconds after that will be point? I think one or something like that. I'm on
And for an animal to really survive, each animal needs to hold a particular role in life, in that particular area. And it's called a niche. And there's a fundamental niche, and that is the role that an animal can play. There's a lot of spider web, a lot of spiders moving house today. The fundamental niche, which is the biggest role that they can play. So it's whatever food they can eat, whatever habitat they can live in, the largest territory or home range that they can have. And then there's the realized niche. So it is the role that they play in that particular area. So the fundamental niche is kind of like the scientific version, and that's the largest possible role that they can play. And the realized niche is what actually happens out there in real life. So for an area in say the Sabi Sands, a lion pride living here in the Sabi Sands may be different to a lion pride, say, in the Serengeti. So there's different amounts of animals living there, there's different numbers of predators living there, there'll be different factors. So their diet might be slightly different to the diet of the lions here, because there could be more wildebeest up in Serengeti, for example, than buffalo. I'm not saying there is, but it could be that they specialise more in zebra and wildebeest, whereas the lions down here may specialise more in buffalo. And it could be that in Botswana there used to be a pride of about 30 strong who used to specialise in elephants. So their role in that particular area may change depending on what other factors influence them. So that's the realised niche. And all the other cats generally are solitary. A cheetah, for example, may pull down, a female cheetah may pull down an impala. Oh, there's a giraffe in the road. Oh, there's a baby giraffe also. And there's a big giraffe. We have 4 giraffe here. 5. Oh, nice. Big male giraffe. Can you see them behind the tree there? Beautiful big bull. What are you guys looking at?
That baby's probably just over about a year old. The giraffe on the right is chewing the cud. And here comes the big bull crossing the road now. He is massive. Good day to you, sir. Now he looks definitely to be around 5 meters or so. And male giraffes can even reach up to 6 meters. Females slightly smaller. Usually about 4.5 meters. You can see how big those big beautiful brown eyes are. And eyesight is very important to the giraffes, and if you see them staring, there's a good possibility there's something being there. We get a lot of giraffes staring in one spot. Could be there's a predator there. There's one female looking into the bush. It could be there's another giraffe there, because the other giraffes don't seem to be too phased. And if ever you see the ears of a giraffe, they're white. And it could be that that's a follow me sign, just like the white tail of a leopard or the black tail of a lion. The warthog's tail, as it runs away, it sticks up in the air so the other warthog can follow. And with those ears being white, could be for other giraffe to see and follow, or just to communicate as they're standing in the bush. Amazing to see the size difference between baby and the big male. You know, they are all looking in that direction. I do wonder if there's something moving there. We're quite a distance from the lions, so it's not the lions they're seeing. squirrel in the tree hasn't picked anything up yet. But if it does, and it looks in the same direction as the giraffes are looking, and starts giving an alarm call, then we know there is something moving around in there. The squirrel's sitting quite high in the tree, so it should be able to see what the giraffes are seeing. Being bothered by the oxpecker on his chin. There you go, you can see that big size difference between the baby and the adults now. Actually, the baby's blending in so well with the adult, can you see it? Hi, Jennifer. Welcome on board this morning. And there's a couple of names, or collective nouns, for giraffe. You have a journey of giraffe, or tall of giraffe, or tower, sorry, tower of giraffe or journey of giraffe. There's a collective noun. Now those big eyes I was saying earlier about their eyesight being very important. And with the head being 3, 4, even 5 meters off the ground, they can see quite far into the bush. They also have these very long eyelashes, and that will help to protect the eyes when they do put their heads into the bush. And it's possible, just like the ground hornbill, that those eyelashes help to protect them against the sun's glare, because they are diurnal feeders, they are active during the day. Okay, they're looking on the road now. I want to move forward just a little bit and just see, they are looking at something, I'm sure of it. They are seeing something. I just want to pull forward slightly. Let's see if we can see a little bit further past the bush here. My squirrel sentry still hasn't started calling. Oh, well spotted, Jennifer. Seeing that there's a scar on the male's left flank. Very well spotted. And that could be from a fight that he's had with another male. And they use their heads to hit each other. And that's why he has the lumps on his head. And these form over time as he starts to fight when he's younger. And these lumps are formed from calcium deposits. And they act like a protective layer, almost like a crash helmet. So they'll swing down and use their head as a battering ram around the chest and the neck and the back area. Now if he moves off the road, we'll see if we can just pull around the corner a little bit and see what they're looking at now. That one looks like it could have been a horn that grazed him, rather than it being from a predator. Although lions will hunt and eat giraffe. And what's quite interesting is lions have learned that when the roads are wet in Kruger, there's some tar roads, and when they're wet, if they chase giraffes onto these wet tar roads, the giraffes will slip, and it makes it a lot easier for them to catch the giraffe. Otherwise they'll wait for giraffes to go down to a water hole, and when the giraffe puts its head down to drink, obviously its eyes at ground level and not high up on its head again. Well, it's staying on its head, but it's not high up to be able to see predators coming. And that's when the lions will then charge in and grab the neck and the head and keep it down so that the giraffe becomes immobilized. But I don't think that really looks like a scar from a lion. It does look more like a horn. I wonder where you're from in the world, Jennifer. Which Jennifer it is. Male just testing the urine of the female. You can just pan a little bit more to the right, you might be able to see. Now this is slightly different to what we saw with the lions. The lions will pull the phlegm and grimace. Let's just see if we can move it around a bit more. Seeing if it's just a slightly different angle. Maybe I'll do it again, but when she urinates, going to be a little bit more difficult for him to really reach the ground. And as I was explaining about when they're drinking, they put the head down, it makes them a lot more vulnerable to predators. So as she urinates, he'll actually take some urine into his mouth to get that urine to the receptor cells, like the lion was doing with the phlegm and grimace, but he'll actually swirl the urine around his mouth. And that's exactly what he was just doing then. Again, he was checking to see if she's in estrus. Hi Marva Ann, welcome to you this morning. And yes, it is classed as a mane on the neck. Quite a short mane, but it is there. I haven't heard any other word being used for it. Oh, thanks Jennifer, from Toronto. Always nice to know where everybody's from. I suppose it would be your evening rather than your daytime. And Jennifer also wanting to know, are the animals related in this group? It's very difficult to say, because giraffe society is very loose, so they don't always have to be in a herd, they can be on their own. Females tend to form groups more than males, although you can get bachelor groups of young males where they learn how to fight and defend themselves. But females can be mixed with males too. The big bulls may move between female herds as they find them. I've seen up to about 15 giraffe altogether. The strongest bond is between calf and mother. So it could be that there's one of the females here is mother to this young calf and maybe mother to one of the other giraffes. But once her older daughter is ready to mate, she may move away and wander off on her own and associate with other female giraffe along the way. So it's a very, very loose society, so it is very difficult to say. With animals like lions, then we can pretty much assume that they are all related, because the females don't move away from the pride. Well, it's very, very rare that the females will move away. It can happen, but generally when females are born into a pride, they will stay. Same with the elephants, the same with buffalo. So there are some animals that live in a family and we can assume that they are related, but with giraffes it's very difficult to say. I really am struggling to see what these giraffes are looking at. There's something that's caught their attention, and they've been looking this side for a long time too. But they still seem to be quite relaxed. Hi, Barbara, from Canada this time. Great to hear from you, Barbara. And wanting to know the purpose of the white. And as you can see, white shows up extremely well in the bush, and if ever you go walking in the bush, white is a very bad colour, because you stick out like a sore thumb. And that is the purpose of the white, is for communication. So the white on the tip of a leopard's tail helps the cubs to follow the mother when they're very small, so if she's moving through the bush they can just keep a check on the white. And if there's two leopards approaching each other, the white on the tail could be used along with the ears to communicate. The white circle on the waterbuck on the rump also helps to communicate to other waterbuck. Again, it could be a follow me sign saying if there is a predator and they move into the bush, the other waterbuck can follow where it's gone. So they can stay as a herd and they don't get separated. The white underneath the tail of antelope. So you have the dark over the top, so when they want to stay hidden and concealed, they can just hold the tail down and the white won't be seen. And you'll actually find that's where the white is on areas where if they want to conceal it, they can. But if they want to use it, then the tail flips up and the white can be seen. Oh, sorry Barbara, I misunderstood your question there, asking about the paleness. One of the giraffes looks more pale than the others. And the coloration of the giraffes is controlled genetically and with age. So once they're born, you tend to get fairly light animals, and as they get older they tend to get darker. But then genetics will dictate how dark they get or how light they stay. Generally females are lighter than males, although you can see there is a difference even between the two females. There's one very dark female, almost as dark as the male, and one very light female. And it's still not known really why they have dark black blotches and light patches. It could be to do with temperature regulation as well as camouflage. The blotches help to break up the outline of the body. There was some research done a little while ago, and it was found that there's a lot more blood vessels underneath those dark areas, and that could help the giraffe to lose heat so that they can move around during the day and need not too much, or stay fairly cool by giving off heat through these dark patches. Could also help them to warm up. Maybe that's what these giraffes were doing. With the sun climbing higher, maybe they were actually warming up after a chilly evening. And again, with all the blood vessels underneath those dark patches, they'll be able to absorb a lot more heat. I'm still convinced there's something around here, but it is difficult to say what and exactly where. So looking into the bush to our left quite a lot, and also behind us. I'm sitting here, I've been looking, where's my binoculars, I've been looking all around us, and I'm not seeing any movement. I'll see if we can pull forward again. quick look before we do head that way. Hi, Joe. Great to hear from you as well. Joe from Vancouver this time. Good morning to you. Or good evening. I just want to have another look in these trees as well. See if there's a leopard line up in the trees. Yeah, my squirrel hasn't called, so I'm kind of putting a lot of faith in that squirrel that there isn't anything there. And as far as I understand, there isn't really a hierarchy between the females because the society is so loose. They can just come and go if they please, so it's not as if there needs to be a hierarchy amongst the females to get better food flow, for example, as you were saying. The female buffalo do have the hierarchy, and those females higher up the hierarchy tend to be at the front of the herd where the better food is, and it hasn't been trampled yet, so they get to that better food first. But in their society, because they do stay as a family and they do form these large herds, then it's worth them having a hierarchy. I've not really noticed anything with giraffes, and I've not really read anything to suggest that there is a hierarchy with females. Oh, there they go. I was hoping maybe they were seeing a leopard, so it would account for the not really reacting to it. It's keeping us. I'm just not seeing any movement in the bush at all. Not really any alarm calls going off there, or so it could have been another giraffe further into the bush that we're just not seeing. Could be that they're smelling the lion because the lions did walk down here, so maybe they're just keeping a good lookout. That could be why. It's just occurred to me now. So that with the baby and also they're being on extra high alert. Oh, beautiful roller. I'm not sure how good we're going to see it in the sun's glare. It might just fly off if I try and squeeze past it. European roller. Much more blue on the body than the lilac-breasted roller. There he goes. You also have a slight hook to the bill, you may have seen that. A bit like a shrike, they also have a little hook to the bill. Possibly to help them eat small rodents or lizards or even insects. Apologies if I don't say your name right. Sorry? I hope I am going to say your name right, but welcome on board, Ray. I hope that's right. Fingers crossed. But good morning to you. And you'd like to know, do we keep a track of the giraffes, just like we do with the leopards with the spot patterns? Because every giraffe does have a unique blotch pattern. And do we name them? And giraffes aren't territorial, so they do have huge home ranges, so they can walk far and wide. So we don't necessarily get the same giraffes here on a daily basis. There was a female with a calf that we saw for about a month or so, I think, upon quarantine, and we got to recognise her, but I haven't seen her for a long time now. And I don't think I've seen these giraffes. I think the bull we've seen, but they're not territorial, so they can move in and out of the area as they please. So that's one of the reasons why it'd be quite difficult really to name the giraffes and to keep records. Unlike the leopards have territories, so it's quite nice to keep up with who's in and out of the territory. And the lions as well, because of the lions overlapping and the interactions that you get. It's quite nice name so that everyone, the interactions between them and the territory changes. Ooh. I wonder if he's going to stay put. There's a lilac-breasted roller this time, so you can actually see the difference. Are you able to see him there? Oh. Just as we turn the camera. Okay. Be nice to try and catch him. For those of you who haven't seen a lilac-breasted roller before, slightly smaller than the European we've just seen, but they've got a beautiful lilac breast, as the name suggests. Always helpful when the name describes the bird. And the European roller describes where it goes during our winter months. It goes to Europe. I suppose it would be a bit of a mouthful. Blue-breasted European roller. Oh, blown off. Have to try again. I'm going to check out Treehouse Dam, see if there's any sign of Karula, and then we're going to head back towards the western side of Quarantine and have a look in the trees there. So I'm still convinced a leopard took down a baby impala last night. But Henry was just telling me he saw some tracks
on the southern side of Triple M, possibly of Karula. And it could be that she's moved south to get away from the lions. Hyena has been walking here. I thought it was a leopard. Hyenas would be nice. I haven't seen them for a while. And I wonder how the cubs are doing. We haven't seen the lady with the 2 notches in her right ear for quite a while. I think the cubs are going to be about 6-7 months old now. Hi, Dave. Oh. Good morning to you. I'm wanting to know the dung beetles back yet. Unfortunately, they won't be back until the next rainy season now. Most of the dung beetles have finished for this year. Not seeing really any moving around now. So going back into winter time. As soon as the first rains start to appear. Ooh, we have hippo here at Treehouse Down. That's when the dung beetles are going to be coming back out. Hello, mister. Can you see past the little tree there? Yay, nay? Yep. We're on a bit of an angle. Good morning to you, mister. I think this could be Hungo. Got the notch in his right ear. But apparently there are 2 hippos with notches in their right ear. Hungo the hippo. Again, very difficult to distinguish the hippo, and the fact that he's got a notch in his ear, I think, was the reason why he was given a name. Being grumpy this morning. Well, since he's under the water, let's just move forward a little bit. See if we can get a better look at him. Sneak forward here. It's like you moved. I wasn't expecting that. Sorry, mister. Now this is another animal that's highly territorial. Males extremely. And if I was to walk up to, looks like he's rolling over. If I was to walk up to the bank, I'd probably get him charging at me. So we're not going to do that. They can charge out of water about 37 kilometers an hour, so they'll outrun me very easily.
He may do the characteristic yawn. And that's actually known as a threatening display to show off the teeth, and they'll do that for other hippos and show off how big their teeth are and tell other hippos, you know, in certain terms, this is my territory, back off. But they'll also do it to other things that they feel that they need to put in their place. So he may actually display his teeth to us. I'm trying to hide behind that branch, mister. Saying rather to keep a watch on us rather than tell us this is his territory. You might even be able to see the small hairs around his nostrils. We do have them on the chin as well. And it's thought it helps them to detect the vibrations of the water movements. And they do communicate underwater. It's inaudible to us, but if you do put a microphone, it's able to pick up the sounds. You can hear clicks and wheezing and whines. There's a lot of different sounds that they make under the water. But the one that you can hear above the water, the one that we can hear extremely well, and it carries for many kilometers, is also a territorial call, and that's the That's my hippo impression. Yeah, he's not impressed. I think he's found a nice spot. Maybe there's some knotweed there, or he's rubbing his belly on something, I think, and that's why he's rolling over in that particular area. He keeps going to that same area. I think there's a nice spot there. just like his closest living relatives, the whales. Hippos and whales have been classified in the same order now, Whippomorpha. The DNA has shown that they are very closely related. And whales will also do that. They'll go to kelp forests and they'll swim in amongst the kelp. And they must enjoy it, and I think that's what he's doing there. He's found some vegetation and he's rolling in it. Oh, let's leave him to his fun. He certainly has character, that one. And I think that's one of the things that is very special about Wild Earth. We can start to build an understanding of personalities of some of the animals, and that's why there are some animals who are very distinctive, and it's nice to keep track of them. You start to understand more of the behaviour rather than just seeing them once in a documentary. You start to understand the actual individual, and I think that's why other programs that have been following various animals have become so enjoyable and so popular, because you can follow the animals and understand how their lives. Hi Pat, good morning to you.
And you're wanting to know, does the lilac-breasted roller also migrate? And it doesn't patch. The lilac-breasted roller stays here all year round. It's just the European roller that migrates to the north, and we only see it during the summertime. Actually came back probably about 2-3 weeks ago. Yeah, about that. As I was saying a little bit earlier about the difference with the cats, with the cheetah, with the female cheetah who are solitary, they can maybe take down impala-sized animals by themselves. The males can live as a coalition of 2 or 3, so they may take down waterbuck. I have heard them successfully taking down waterbuck and nyala, and even ostrich, or even a female with cubs I've heard of taking down ostrich, and the ostrich can make quite a big portion of their diet. But a cheetah probably, I'll never say never, but probably couldn't take something like a big adult wildebeest down, or an adult zebra. Maybe the babies, or maybe yearlings, but an actual adult, possibly not taking something as big as that down. But it may have happened, I've just not heard about it. Leopards, I have seen footage of big male leopards taking down adult wildebeest, and I've even seen 2 leopards sitting with half a giraffe in a tree, and it looked like it was not an adult, but it wasn't a baby, it was probably a sub-adult. But the question is, did they kill it or did they steal it? But who knows? But generally they'll go for smaller prey. I've even heard of leopard pulling down kudu before as well. So maybe just a bit large antelope for a leopard. Medium to large antelope, as well as small prey species. The lion are able to take down the buffalo and the big herbivores, as well as all the other animals that the other 2 cats can eat. And I've even heard that recently tigers who are also solitary, living in various parts of Asia, but in India, and I'm hoping I'm going to say this right, but in the National Park Ranthambore, I think that's how you say it, that they've actually found that tigers are now cooperating just like lions to pull down the Asian buffalo that are in that park. Okay,